How's it going, Sugarshack family? Welcome to another episode of our podcast. We're here at Wonderfront Music and Arts Festival in San Diego, California. It's chilly for us Florida boys, that's for sure. And I'm excited to be sitting down with Josh from the Kaleidoscope Kid.
Thank you, man. Pleasure to be here. I'm a huge fan of Sugarshack, and definitely it's crazy. It's really awesome. I'm so glad you guys were out at this festival and it worked out.
Dude, this is awesome. So you already know what Sugarshack's about.
Yeah.
Tell me about, what was the first time you discovered Sugarshack?
I think it was when my buddy plays in Badfish, the Sublime tribute band.
Okay, dope.
And so when they went out and did that, I really tapped in. I was like, yo, this is incredible content. What you guys are doing, the video work, the audio, just the scene, and it's dope here because I feel like it's pretty similar scenic wise.
It's ironic, right? That we got a similar
cool.
setup.
I was like, dope.
Yeah. It seems to work out that way. Wherever we go, we tend to make magic. It's
That's
pretty
beautiful.
dope. Man, I thought your set was amazing. Your session here at Wonderfront was really cool. Tell me more about your project. What's the Kaleidoscope Kid about?
So I've really been all over the place with music. I started more so in the hip hop world. I think a lot of inspiration from Mac Miller and I always was a huge fan of Kendrick Lamar and Isaiah Rashad and people like that.
Yeah.
And as I was playing a lot of instruments and producing myself and recording myself, and slowly it transitioned into more the alternative sound and a lot more instrumentation. And so we dropped an album last year or sometime this year. I can't remember what it was, but those songs were 5 to 7 years old. They're very old. So I have a lot of stuff that I'm always in the studio working on. I have folk sounding stuff. I have very much punk and alternative sounding stuff. So I really just love music, and I spend a lot of time in the studio just experimenting with stuff,
That's rad, man. So today you did a solo set, but do you have a band that you scale it up to? Or?
No. I've never played with a band. I've always been so isolated in the studio, and really it was a year ago when things started to pick up where I started performing more and stuff like that, and I was like, the future, definitely I would love to have a band. I think even at least a drummer, you know what I mean, would just really create a different dynamic on stage.
Sure.
But, sometimes I feel a little behind in that aspect, but I also think that, I've talked about it with people, it's it kind of speaks volume to just go out on stage by yourself. People don't know what they're going to expect, and so it's always fun, but I look forward to having a band one day. That is the goal.
Well, dope, man. And 100% I agree with what you're saying. It's a song. There's a part of it simple, complex, layers just stripped down. A great song is a great song, and communicating that emotion in such a simple way sometimes is just the thing that somebody needs, to connect with your music. And so I think it's rad. I'm a big fan of the singer-songwriter genre, and I think that there's just amazing ways to just be simple and communicate it straightforward,
Yeah.
So really cool. I love your songwriting approach. I'd like to hear more about just how you've written some of these songs that you shared today, because, what I heard is a lot of different blends of genres and styles mixing up, and I feel and I'm sure it's intentional on your part, but it feels a little like a call to the name of the project.
Exactly. Yeah.
So tell me more about that.
What's
that writing process is like for you?
It's funny because I always was the Kaleidoscope Kid in and of itself, it's you look at a kaleidoscope and you never know what to expect, kind of thing. And so I felt that was very fitting for the approach to the music, because I was I never wanted to be restricted by any means. When it comes to the songwriting stuff, the first 2 songs I performed, they were very much I would, to simplify it, it'd be campfire songs. I used to live out in the middle of the woods in a cabin in Sedona, Arizona, with no neighbors or anything like that, and
just
I was
off the grid. How long did you live like that off the grid?
I lived I lived really off grid, in a tent for maybe 6-8 months in Sedona, Arizona. I lived off grid in Maui for a few months, 5-6 months. But the cabin that I had in Sedona was, it was I would leave it once or twice a month to go get groceries. And other than that, it was just the backyard was into the mountains, and the front yard was the creek and into the mountains.
And you're just in solitude?
Yeah.
You're writing?
Yeah, that was where a lot of writing took place. I had my girlfriend at the time, and there was a few neighbors around that lived there, but they were very to themselves as well, but very kind community of people. But so for the most part, honestly, it was just a lot of experimenting. It gave me the perfect birthing place to kind of just experiment and not think about anything. And so that was where a lot of it took place, was just recording on like an old computer and taking a lot of psychedelics and experimenting with everything. You know what I mean? It was just not much else to do out there.
Right.
So that was kind of where the foundation of the Kaleidoscope Kid was born.
Yeah. Cool. Tell me more. I mean, like out of the 4 songs that you shared today, which one stands out as one that you're most fond of and like is most dear to you? I know I understand it's hard, but does one particularly stand out?
I think the song Mrs. Sinclair was a very like heartfelt song. It was something that like it captured a beautiful moment for me, and it's something that I'm really glad that I have to just like, you listen to a song and it brings you back to a time in your life, and so that song in particular, like it always touches me in a certain way. So, but I love them all, man. They're all definitely like very meaningful.
So, what is it about Miss Sinclair that like? What's the story behind that song?
I think it was just it was kind of just those beginning moments of falling in love, and like there's a reference in it where it talks about like bandaging your wounds and like meeting this person who kind of tends to the wounds that you have as a person, rather than being running away from it or being afraid of it, sees it for what it is and is willing to put in the effort to really sit there and kind of nurture it. You know what I mean?
Rad, dude.
Yeah.
Super cool. Love it. So what's your goal right now as a musician? Are you trying to tour? Are you trying to play shows? Are you trying to release music?
Yeah, I have a lot of music I'm sitting on. I don't know how much I can give away, but we're planning on dropping an album next year. And we have a lot of content, a lot of music videos that I'm like itching to get out.
Nice.
I'm like, I'm really excited.
You're like ready
to share
to go.
These.
You're locked and loaded.
Yeah, but I have a great team of people around me. I have a great support system, and we want to make sure that we do this the right way to give the music the opportunity it can to really flourish. Yeah, man, we're working on that, and then touring is just a huge thing. I think that's going to benefit us tremendously. And for me personally, like, I've spent so much time in the studio that now all I want to do is go out on tour. I want to see the world. I want to travel. I want to just go continue to, sharpen those swords and become a better musician and to just keep growing.
That's awesome. Yeah. So people can follow you and listen to you on Instagram, the Kaleidoscope Kid. Is that your handle?
Yeah.
And then you're on Spotify, releasing music.
Yep.
So make sure you're checking his music out. Super awesome time. Super great session. Great songwriter. Thank you, Josh, so much. Excited to see where the Kaleidoscope goes. This Kaleidoscope Kid goes.
Thank you.
Bro.
No.
Been a long day for me too. I'm toast. But awesome, man. Well, I know you're hungry. I'm going to let you go. Get some food. Get your fish tacos.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a wrap, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
That's it.
Sugarshack. Sit back, relax, cause it's time for another podcast.
Dope. Sugarshack off the bucket list. Next time I'm coming out to Florida.
Yeah, man. That'd be rad. Love to have you.